Yeah. I mean, we all got excited. Marriage is now in vogue because of what happened with the royal wedding. I think we all watched the royal wedding, and it was a very pleasant affair. And I think most people watched the royal wedding and sat there thinking exactly what I thought, which is, should have married the sister. Because of everything that's gone on with me over the last year, even the marriage, a lot of my mates think, oh, the marriage is going to be different. And it is different. It's difficult. I've been married for 18 years. Anyone in here who's new to marriage, good luck to you. It's an exciting thing when it's new. Things do change, though, quickly. I'd say it probably happens round about 5 or 6 years in. Because what happens is you find yourself one day sat there eating cereal like that, just in the morning, just having your breakfast, just like that, eating your cereal. And you find yourself just pausing and looking at your spoon and thinking, I could kill her with that. And then you just carry on eating. And that's basically how you live the rest of your life. But what happened with me recently is it wasn't recently, it was April last year. I got a phone call from my agent. And this is where you find your marriage being tested. Because I got a phone call from my agent. I was doing a gig in Huddersfield. He said, there's someone from the BBC who'd like to see you after the gig. I walked into the dressing room. There was 2 fellas there who clearly come up from London. Because one of them had a pullover tied round his neck. In Huddersfield, I thought, if I let you out of here dressed like that, they're going to burn you as a witch. But there was these 2 posh lads. He said, hello, John. We're from the BBC. And he said, basically, what had happened, there's been a cock-up with the BBC with the schedule, and he said, there's an opportunity to do a stand-up show. If you can deliver 6 half-hour stand-up shows in 8 weeks, you can have the slot. Do you think you can do it? And I said, yes! Thinking not a chance. And they said, okay, but we need to have a chat with you about the language used. I said, well, look, lads, I can only do it in English. I said, I know how PC you are, and if you give me longer, I'll have a stab at Urdu or Polish or Welsh or whatever you want, but right now, that's all I've got. And he said, no, it's not that. It's the swearing. You do swear a lot, and I do swear a lot, and I apologise if anyone's offended by it, but it's difficult. As you well know more than anyone, Scousers, we need to swear. No, it's true. If we don't swear, we've got no punctuation. It's when we try not to swear that we make that other noise where we go, eh. But they said, look, the problem is there's some things you can't say on the BBC. I said, oh, go on, what are they? I think we could all guess what they were, but I wanted them to say because they were posh. And I love posh people swearing. It's brilliant. And when we were kids, we used to go to Chester just to trip posh people up so we could hear them go, hey, fuck! Because it's lovely, isn't it? It's not aggressive. It's like an ingredient in a cake, isn't it? Just add some fuck to the cake. So I wanted them to say, they said, oh, we can't tell you. So because the BBC operates a list, and every 6 months they get the list updated. I said, I've got to see the list. They said, oh, we don't have the list, but we can have the list brought to the next meeting. A week later, I was in London. A man walked into the meeting who I'd never seen before, never seen since. I can only assume he was the BBC list man. He walked in with a briefcase. He opened it, he got 1 sheet of paper out, he went. He said, that's the list. I said, you can look at the list, but you can't take the list. He said, you've got to memorize the list. I thought, this is fucking brilliant. I'm now a spy of swearing. I'm looking at this list. There was 20 words, 1 to 20, that if you use them in a joke on the BBC, they get complaints. Number 1 being the word that would get the most complaints. I wanted to see the winner. I think we would all naturally assume that the winner would be the C word. Because universally, the C word is regarded as the worst word in the English language. When the English language was getting developed, there must have been a committee meeting. They must have sat there and said, look, lads, got loads of words here. We need to pick one that's the really bad word. And someone's obviously said, why don't we use the C word? Because it sounds a little bit German anyway. And it is always regarded as the worst word. Women hate the C word, unless, of course, they're calling you it. Oh yeah, it slips off the tongue very easily, then I've noticed. If you pardon the expression, but it does. It does. And I don't know why it's been picked as the worst word. There's so many other things that you can get offended by, and I don't know why, because that's only 4 letters long. I mean, it's not even a good score in Scrabble. Although, to be honest, it doesn't half change the atmosphere if it gets used. Particularly if it's your nan that uses it first. I was expecting that to be number 1. It's not, it's number 2 on the list. The C word is number 2 on the list. The word that's number 1 on the BBC list, that if you use it in a joke to get more complaints than anything else, is Jesus Christ. Can you believe that? Jesus Christ is number 1. The C word is number 2. That blew me away. If you've got a joke where the punchline is, and Jesus Christ is a bit of a cunt,